It's the haunting of Old Bill.
Let me know when we're live.
We're live. Go ahead, start.
Hey, I want to welcome everybody to the third podcast, Paranormal Plus, and I am Kevin, aka Casper Hunter, and I'm here with
I'm David Luke. Hi.
David is the medium, not to be confused with the small. All right, so tonight we've had some technical issues. It may be the storm that came up on us, and I hope that we can get everything in. The timer has shortened with us. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say a quick prayer, and so if you'll bow with me, you going to say it with me, David?
Mm.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses.
Forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
power and glory, forever and ever.
Amen.
And tonight I wanted to start with a quote from a ghost.
Ooh, that sounds
Yes.
special.
The quote is, "Stay away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the truly great make you too feel that you can become great." Mark Twain. All right.
Now,
so
that little people as in, you said short people or little people?
when did I say anything about little people?
You said short or little people just then. Stay away from the little people.
Stay away from. You got me there. You got me there, brother. You got me there, brother.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
I'm just messing with you.
You are going to have to go back and talk to the master
He's dead.
of words.
Mark
Well,
Twain
you
dead.
can talk to him. I can't.
It's not up to me.
Let's conjure it up.
No, that ain't how it works.
All right. Okay. All right. Well. All right. So we had hoped to go live on YouTube tonight, and is it? Am I too loud? So.
You get going, buddy. You get going.
I know, right? Because I'm
Turn mine down.
the man of constant sorrow.
You are. You
All
are
right.
that man.
One more thing is we'd like to mention our sponsors tonight.
Yay! We got sponsors.
Yeah! Laser Action Warfare.
You know, it's starting to cool off outside.
Yes.
And me and you play Call of Duty. I don't know if anybody else out there plays Call of Duty, but what I like to do is shoot people.
Yeah.
But there's no way to do it without going to prison. So
I know.
Laser Action Warfare is the
Laser
place to
Action
go.
Warfare.
If you want to shoot people,
A
go over
warrior
there.
is defined.
No, honestly, it's a good place. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's a good place to go if to take your kids.
Yes.
And have good, clean fun.
Good, clean fun. Also, tonight's production is put on by Past Six Productions, and that's reaching back to what we started as, Past Six. So it turned into a production company a year and a half ago, and that is what's producing our show.
Awesome.
All right, so evidently we didn't get to go live on YouTube like we wanted to,
No.
but that's okay.
I can still try, but I have a feeling it's going to mess us up here.
We want to go just like we are, because anything else and any, let's go ahead and get the story out there. The Haunting of Old Bill.
All right. This
All
was a
right,
good
so-
story.
So, The Haunting of Old Bill. It's a very strange, peculiar story that happened. I get called, and I was like, "Kevin, you've got to come check this place out. This place is haunted." And I remember asking, I said, "Give me some details. Give me some details about the house." And they said, I go, "Is it a wood frame house? Is it an old wood frame house?" And they was like, No, it's a single wide trailer. And I said, single wide? Back then I was, if it wasn't 100 years old, it couldn't have been haunted. And that's that was
your way of thinking, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I remember sitting there and thinking, oh my God, here we go, single wide trailer. There's no way it's haunted. I'm not even gonna bother David with it. So I drug my little my little boy along with me. I don't know how old he was. Let's see, it'd been around 2013, so he would have been about 8 years old.
Yeah, he was a little guy.
7 years old. So we go to this house, and I'm walking through, and I go and I take some pictures.
Which we can't show now.
Huh?
We can't show them now.
You want to show them?
We can't show them.
We can't show. We cannot show the pictures.
We'll post them in the comments.
We'll post them in the comments. We also got pictures that I pulled up from last week that I found about last week's podcast, and we'll go back and post.
We'll
those.
post those in the comments from last week. Yeah, last episode. That's good.
Okay, so I go and I meet these people, and they're funny little people and fun loving. They act just like we do. They don't meet a stranger. So I go and still, I take some pictures and I do some readings with the EMF reader, and I'm thinking, the EMF reader was, working, and it was showing some electromagnetic fields that was above normal, which to me, later on I learned that the higher the EMF reader goes, the more that it could be hallucination.
Oh.
So the EMF reader actually debunks a lot of hauntings. So I get home, and I'm the type of person, I don't wait. I start going through the pictures. Back then it was a little different. We had this little tiny camera. Remember the little tiny camera? I bought it off of eBay for like $10.
Yeah, I think we found it the other day.
Yeah,
Didn't
we did. It's in the ghost box at the house. We got a military ammo can. We call it the ghost box. So I remember taking some pictures, and I went home. I pulled the disc out of it and put it on my computer, and immediately go to looking at these pictures. And I wind up having to call, and I cannot remember who introduced me to this family. But I called, and I got their number, and I remember the girl's name, and she's no longer with us. So out of respect, we're not going to use names and stuff. We'll just say we'll say Sonny. That's a good name.
Yeah.
So I called Sonny, and I said, Sonny, in the back bathroom, in the not the master bathroom, but the other bathroom, was somebody getting ready to take a shower or bath? Why was the water running? And she goes, that's impossible. And I said, why? I said, I got a picture here, and I want to send it to you, but there's water running in the bathtub.
We're good.
And we have a picture of the water flow out of the faucet that was flowing into the bathtub. And the bathtub didn't even work. The plumbing was broke. So when she told me that, and I said, well, that's very strange. Let me get with David. I want to show David this. And I take this picture, and I said, David, I run across this place, and I said, you may not want to even bother with it. It's a single wide trailer. You said, don't tell me no more. I don't want no more. No more. Said it. He goes. I said, well, so you don't want to do it? He goes, no, just don't tell me. Don't tell me what's going on.
Yeah, this was really early in our beginning. Yeah. This was probably maybe the third time we'd ever done it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll get it set up. And we went out. It was me, you. It was somebody else.
I don't know. It was a female, a girl.
I think it was the woman from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
She's also. That's
She's
weird.
passed away as well. Yeah.
That's weird. There's a bunch of people that was tied to that one investigation that's passed on.
Oddly,
so
number of people. Yeah.
We go into this investigation, and in the house there was a lot of and I wish she could share the pictures, because there was a lot of streamers. And if you don't know what a streamer is, a streamer, it looks like lightning in a dark photo. You don't use a flash, and you'll capture this lightning, and what it is ectoplasm. It's where they're moving around, and they call like an energy force, like a static electricity or something. So we have these pictures, and we had a lot of great pictures. Now, getting into the entire story, we go and you take over your part.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me you wanted me to step. There was extra people there.
Yeah, I remember when we. Okay, so here's the thing with me. For whatever reason, I have yet to be able to explain witches, or someone I refer to as a witch. They either love me to death or they hate me. There's no in between. So this.
But that's the case with most females.
That's true. That's the case with most people.
You know, because they either gonna love you or hate you, and I think.
And none was like, he's kind of.
I think they start out loving you and then hate you.
It's either,
okay.
Get out of here, guy. But no. All jokes aside, I walked in and I had prepared to do the walkthrough and to try to do the reading and the helm and everything like that. And me and you walk in, and time I walk in, I locked eyes on this one particular person out of the crowd, and there was probably 6 people there.
Yeah.
And she locked eyes on me, and it was simultaneously, and it wasn't like this woman did not want me there. Not 1 second did she want me there, and I think
your presence made her uncomfortable.
I think it did, and it does that sometimes to someone who's.
You called me out on the porch.
Yeah.
And you said that woman in there's a witch.
She was.
And you go, I'm not really going to continue this while she's here. And this woman got up and left.
Yeah, she just left.
She left.
I don't know.
She spoke to us. She said, I wish you guys the best.
I don't remember saying nothing.
Or something. And she goes, I'll get with Sonny and find out.
I spoke to you.
So, yeah.
But she got out of there, and thank the Lord she did.
Yeah.
She was just throwing too much negative energy out. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes your energy clashes with their energy, especially if you have a healing energy, something like that, or if you have a neutral energy and they have a darker energy.
Yeah.
It's gonna have problems. None of those are gonna work together, and that's why it's hard for a lot of mediums to work together. Not saying that they have darker energy or negative energies, but
their energies block each other.
Well, not that. It's like you're trying to concentrate on A, B, and C over here, and you cut them think their thoughts and their emotions in your ear or in your head over here, and you're trying to block that out while you're dealing with this, and it makes it harder to get through the reading.
So, what happened was, I immediately went to talking with people and decided that I was going to do some research.
Yeah.
And I think we only had a short time, so I contacted somebody that worked within the Historical Society.
Okay.
And I was interested in what may have took place, and this was actually took place after we went in, after the initial time that you went in. Mm-hmm. So I talked to this woman, Miss Walker, and she's passed on. She had something to do with the Historical Society, and she told me, I can keep in mind, this has been almost 10 or 11 years ago.
Oh yeah.
She tells me that was part of somebody's old farm. She called it out, and she said, there was this farmer, and to the best of my knowledge now, this is may not be as accurate as the historical depiction was back then when she gave it to me. She said there was this farmer and his wife had passed away, and he had a daughter. Mm-hmm. The daughter met a man from Michigan and moved away to Michigan, and he was abusive. And so when she came home, she had a daughter. And all they remember was history kind of forgot. There was no more documentation about the woman herself. It was always, there was some bits and pieces about the man and the granddaughter. And we didn't know that Sonny and her family had already had a medium come in. And this woman comes from Savannah. We don't know who she is. They just told us that a medium from Savannah had come in and told us that the little girl's name was Daisy. And
for me, that's just a very common name.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was actually her real name or not. It could have been.
It could have been. It could have been. And then again, you know, who knows? But anyway, so you go in, and at this point, you go into the home, and you're drawn outside.
Yeah, I was being pulled out. So, well, I felt there was two spirits within the house on opposite ends of the house. Once we got rid of that distracted lady, but then you know I had to kind of take a break, so I went outside, and as I went outside, I was just kind of walking around, you know, getting some air, and I was drawn to a specific spot in the yard, and I started seeing what was there, and it was what I got was that there was a old well on the property, and there was an old well, if you remember it now. There was an old well there that was on the edge of their property, and there was an old well farther down that used to be all owned by the same person.
So what happened was, and David didn't know this, but Sonny, and I cannot remember the guy's name, but they took me to a spot and said, well, the medium from Savannah told us that they said it's funny that he's been pulled outside because the medium told us that there's a body that was in the ground right here, and she wants to be dug up.
Well, she probably does.
And her remains laid to rest properly. And
but it's so deep.
I remember sitting there and thinking, and I said, well, why would she want to be dug up and all this? And they said, well, she told us that there was an incident with the well. Yeah. And then you come over and you said, come here. Yeah. And you said, you said, there's two wells out here. And he didn't know nothing about the well at this point.
And when I say well, I mean like a brick, a rock, cobblestone top, in the ground, old-timey 18th century well. Yeah. I don't mean like a modern-day well.
Yeah, yeah. And you say there's something that's happened in that well.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, tell me more, David. Show me where this well is.
You know what? Now that we're talking about is bringing back some of the memories. I remember communicating with a spirit that was just there on the edge of the wood line for whatever reason. And a lot of these guys on here probably back me up. I don't understand why the spirits, they like to stay in the wood line, like they're hiding from me. They do that to me. They've always done that to me, like they're hiding in the wood line from me. So, but this spirit was doing this. It was a woman, yeah. And this wasn't a child. This was a woman. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't that young. I mean, wasn't that old. She was probably 30 or below, 25, 30 years old. But she was definitely indicating to me, you know, that there was someone in the well, and I wasn't able to catch everything that she was saying because she was. I don't remember.
So,
why.
Me and David look, and I said, being that you mentioned a well, can I tell you something in regards to this investigation? And at that point, you say, as long as it's not going to give me any information that will,
Yeah, because I wasn't done doing my reading at that point. I was still doing my reading.
I tell you at this point, I said, well, David, they just told me that there was another medium that came out, and she was from Savannah, and that she also came out to the property and said that there was a well, and said there was an incident with the well where the woman had fell in the well. Now you got a different a different message, because you came to me later and told me, but we're gonna have to speed this up a little bit.
No, we can go on. We still got time.
So breaking it down, I go to telling you this other medium come out, and she said there's a well, and I take you to the spot. I took you to the spot the other medium said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you said I don't feel like this was the well.
I remember that.
And I remember telling you it doesn't feel like a well spot to me. I said I would look for in the 1800s. Matter of fact, Pierce County became a county in 1857, I think. It used to be Ackland County, but in 1857, I believe, is when Pierce County became a county, and this was all part of the history of Pierce County. We went to look at it, and I went to a spot, and I found these clovers, the water lily clovers, and they was in a perfect circle in the yard. We got a picture of it.
Yeah, somewhere.
It was about this big around, and there was nothing but a bunch of like water lilies growing in that perfect round spot. And you come over and you go where you're standing, and I said that's weird that you'd say that, because we got these water lilies that would represent a wetter spot, more moisture in the ground. So we got to discussing and went back to the picture where the water was flowing in the tub, and said, you know what, the little girl in the house, because I think you established later that there was a little girl in the house.
I think that they said that there was a little girl in the house.
And
I don't think that I honestly I don't remember, because it's been so long. But as we're talking about it, some memories are coming back. So I can verify those, but I can't verify if I don't remember, obviously. But I remember them saying that there was a little girl that they had been seen, but I don't know if I remember seeing a little girl.
Okay.
There was one particular inside that I definitely did see.
Well, do you remember when we went inside the house? Do you remember going down to the back bedroom?
Which one? What do you mean by back?
The master bedroom. I mean, there was a little bit of activity all over the house, but
you want me to talk about that?
Yeah, we need to go ahead and start talking about Old Bill.
Okay, Old Bill.
Old Bill.
So we're in Old Bill's bedroom.
Old Bill's bedroom.
Old Bill was there. I don't know if I want to start a story like that. Let me back up a minute. Like I was saying in my previous video I made yesterday on the Facebook, they had a lot of echo in it. I don't know if y'all could hear everything I was saying, but during this time, I was working with my mentor. She was a medium, renowned medium, and she was working with what?
Now, is she the one that passed away?
No.
Okay.
No, she's still alive. She lives in like North or South Carolina.
So she was there with us.
No, she wasn't there with us.
Okay.
She was just working with me personally.
Okay. I remember there was a female there.
Yeah, I know who it was, but she's passed away.
She passed away. Okay.
Right. So anyway, this lady's name is Nadine Reynolds,
Okay.
She's a German lady. She was born in Germany.
Born in Germany.
So anyway, but she.
I think I remember Nadia.
Yeah, you talked to her a few times. Anyway, she was working with me, basically trying to get me to stop doubting myself and to just say it. What she was getting, it was the issues that I was having with myself and my self-esteem, working with my gift. So she was helping me because she had done past that point. So she was helping me with mine. So this was the first house that I actually just said, screw it. I'm going to just say what I'm getting, and if it's wrong, then it's wrong,
Yeah.
So we're going to go back now to the EVP session that we started out in Old Bill's room.
Okay, so back then, we had a very, very old recorder. It was a small tape deck type recorder. It had the little tiny tapes in it, and the fun thing about that was it was real easy to rewind and listen. And we would just we would run segments of about 5 minutes and then listen.
Right.
We wanted to listen.
Yeah.
With the digital recorders and stuff today, you have to sit there and to be able to hear anything, you want to put the earphones on and try to knock out as much noise and stuff. So we're talking about an old 1980s type recorder.
Oh yeah, it was old. I don't know if it was it one I brought.
Yeah, it was the one you brought.
It was one my mom bought. Don't tell me when she bought it.
So you go back there, and I followed you and Dee back there, and you lay down in the man's bed.
Yeah, that was something that I was pushing myself at that moment because, see, I learned when I was a child and I was had to encounter these entities, or whether they was dark, demonic, or if they was just normal spirit entities visiting. I learned that because I was a child, I was afraid of them, like any child would be. But I learned that if I felt one in that room, in that corner of that room, or in that corner, that later on I got to where I could pinpoint exactly where they was at in the room, etc. But I learned to go exactly to there. So what I was doing here was I was pushing myself.
Yeah.
I laid down in the bed. Now you got to remember, this bed, someone passed away in.
So it had a lot of energy.
It had a lot of energy connected to it, and when I did that, it was like it just come to me, started flooding in.
What happens? The reason we bring up the EVP it was a weird EVP. It sounded like the boards on a ship creaking, and it was just like the old wooden ship was being torqued, and it just sounded like a bunch of old boards, like the squeaking and creaking. And I remember you said something. You made a comment and you said he's in the room, and I said, who's in the room? And you said something about old Bill.
I said, yeah. What I said, man, I keep getting the name Bill or William. I said, I think his name was William, but he went by Bill. He died as an old man.
Yeah.
I said, and another thing, and a lot of times when I'm doing it, for whatever reason, I get just little pieces of what you can use for validation for that person. Like when I come and did your house with Dewan, remember, for her dad? Or I'm not supposed to say that. I already said it now. Too late. Sorry, Dewan, if you don't like this. It happened already. It's live.
Yeah,
It's live TV.
Hey, speaking of last week, the Sometimes Evil. All right. So
But anyway, when I went
on.
over there to do that, and that investigation that I just did by myself, they kept bringing up the cigarette that he smoked.
Yeah.
So, and that wasn't some validation for her. Even after I left the house, she was able to go back and say, "Oh my God, he did write that down. That's so weird." It's not weird to me. Her dad said that. I didn't say it. Yeah. But anyway, it was a tobacco product that he was showing me there too, and it was one of those really old. It looked like it was brass or something like made out of brass or something, but it was an old spit can. It was one of the big ones, it was kind of like round at the bottom and bellowed out at the top.
Yeah. Spit tune.
And he would put his cigarette butts in it too. And he would lay there in that bed and he would watch his westerns and he would smoke his cigarettes and spit. Just who he was, and that's okay.
So, what happens is, we sat back there and listened to the because you're saying at this point he's communicating with you.
He was.
And we rewind and we listen, and that's when we heard all the creaking of the boards. I mean it was I don't know. It just sounded like boards being twisted.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I wish we had that EVP.
I do too. But a bunch of the stuff that we had a long time ago was tied into a different computer system, and that computer system.
Well, we're going to create new ones.
Yeah, we're going to create new ones. We got some upcoming.
We got
live.
some good places coming up.
We're gonna blow y'all's mind with that. But getting back to the story, so I go in there and I sit down after we listen to everything, and you can hear you in the recorder saying something. That's something.
I specifically remembered because I used it for myself. Because at that point I was still looking for validation for myself. So this was a journey. This was a big thing for me personally. And so that EVP that night, prior to me saying it to the family, talking to them about it, because that's what I was really afraid to do at that point. I was just, that was my problem. That was my hurdle that I was having to overcome. So that EVP was validation for me that I said it 20 minutes ago, and now I'm going to come in here and talk to them about it.
So I go in and I sit down. Now, the way I was sitting on the couch, there was the kitchen, then a hallway, and then that door going to that bedroom. And we're sitting there talking, and I'm telling them, we're gonna go and we're gonna look over all the data that we have collected tonight. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna try to figure out what's going on, and we're gonna try to get you some answers. And I look down the hallway where you just come from, and the door, you had closed the door, and I look down the hallway again, and the door is open. Now, that happens.
Right, that happens.
So to me, I was like, it may be nothing, but I was taking the camera, the little tiny red camera.
Yeah, the red camera.
And I kept taking pictures down that hallway. Now, these pictures are somewhere, and maybe I can find them and post them. But there was a table in between me and that hallway, and there was a Coca-Cola and a roll of paper towels on it. And I kept taking pictures while we're talking to them. Not trying to be rude, but I'm like, hey.
Well, we're still doing the investigation.
I'm just taking pictures down this hallway because I felt like something was there.
Yeah.
I get home that night and I'm looking through the pictures and I didn't even see it while I was there.
Yeah.
The paper towels and the Coca-Cola moved from one side of the table to the other. and to me, I don't know if I took a picture and one of them got up and went and moved it, while we was talking. And I run through that in my mind.
Right.
But do you?
I don't remember anything about.
I think they just sat there and they were like glued to what we were saying, and then we start to leave, and you go, one more thing.
Yeah. Because I was sitting there fighting with myself. I need to say it. It was almost like someone was going, say it, and I was like, I don't want to say it.
Go ahead.
So I was
say
like, all right, I'm just going to say it. If I'm wrong, I'm just going to be wrong. So I was like, hey, I said, does the name, and you got to keep in mind, at this point, I had no idea if I was right. I knew I just had a communication in there with a spirit.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that spirit's connected to them.
But their reaction's what blowed my mind.
Me too.
Because you come in with the nickname, and they say, Will. Yeah, that was Granddaddy.
Yeah, that was him, and
he died back there in that
room, in that bed. And I was like, yep, I just talked to him. But yeah, that was extreme validation for me. And
Old
ever
Bill.
since then,
You
Old
said,
Bill.
does the name Old Bill mean anything to you?
Right.
Or did you say William?
I think I might have said William, but I'm
You
not
said
sure.
William, and they said they come in and
They
at the
said
same
they
time
call him
y'all
Bill.
were like Old Bill, and
Yeah.
they said yeah, that's what everybody called him was Old Bill.
Right. And what they did is they went and got the funeral pamphlet.
Mm-hmm.
They had it sitting like up there on the entertainment center. I didn't know nothing about it. Or they got it out of a drawer. That's what it was. They got it out of a drawer, and I said, "Yeah, look, this was his name." And I was like, oh, "Okay."
Well, he wanted to communicate with y'all.
He did.
He had something that he wanted to deliver to you guys. I remember you saying that, and they went to asking about
that. Well, first of all, the reaction was, I think there was an older woman there, wasn't there?
yeah,
And
his
she
wife.
got kind of teary-eyed about it, and that's kind of a natural reaction to any type of readings you do for people. I've learned that over my time doing it. You just learn to accept that that's part of it, and kind of help them as you can. But yeah, she kind of got teary-eyed, and she was like, "Oh Lord, how do you know?" But they was asking me a lot of questions when we went outside. We was packing up. No, they was asking me all kinds of questions. All kinds. How does it work? How do you communicate? Do you see him? Can he talk to you? Can you ask him this now? I was like, that's not how it works. I'm not on the phone with him, or something like that. It's a whole process, and it's mainly up to him or them if they want to communicate. Not me. I can't force them to do anything. But you want me to tell them this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's one of the things that kind of said, "Hey, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm done for tonight. I'm not doing this no more tonight." They said, "Well, ask him where the money is." I said, and I looked at them, and they was dead serious.
They said he had about $7,000 that he kept in a jar, and I guess they were all drooling, waiting for him to die to get ordered the money.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Hey, I'm making up stuff. But I'm making up the part about them drooling about him dying.
Right.
But they sat there and they were interested in that, and they tell me there was about $7,500 that he kept in a jar, and they don't know where it went. That when he passed away, he had hid the money, and he was hiding it from them.
But he ain't going to tell them where to put it.
Her boyfriend was questionable,
Yeah.
and he didn't want him getting his hands on it, and so.
But and that's the story of Old Bill in a nutshell, basically. But what's something I was thinking about a while ago, and you was talking about was that we didn't have a lot of resolutions to offer families back then.
Yeah.
That we did investigations on. When we was first starting out like that, we didn't hardly have no equipment. I was still seeking validation from my gifts. And we had a lot of issues. Well, I wouldn't say issues, but it was a lot of education that we still had.
It was
to go
fun.
through. Yeah, well, it was fun. It was fun to do. But now we're not even nowhere near like that.
No.
We'll do an investigation or an interview.
No, our podcast is like that.
Yeah.
Our podcast.
Right.
I mean,
we're learning to do the podcast now.
It takes a lot of money to put these podcasts on, and it's been coming out of mine and David's pocket. We did have
we had a donator.
A donator,
She
and
bought these.
and then
These are pretty cool, actually. If you can tell, our volume levels are a lot different on this episode.
So we want to say thank you for your donation. It helped buy some equipment, and what I want to do is we got about 14. We we've only been on 38 minutes because we got a late start.
Do you want to tell what the interview we did this past week?
I think we need to say that.
We might not be done with that yet.
Yeah,
so that's
okay. We're still we.
I'll tell you one thing we do. Excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words.
Yeah, she's got to follow through with some stuff before we get back.
Yeah, we'll just see how that works out. But she's a nice lady.
Yeah.
The whole family's cool. But anyway, we do want to give a shout out to our newest member, and that is Connie Lee.
Connie Lee, yes.
Her title.
Connie is our lead historian, and she comes over from Ware County Paranormal Society, and she'll be helping Paranormal Plus. I almost said Past Six because that's
it's almost the same thing.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing. Paranormal Plus and The Unexplained.
Yeah, we was lucky to get her. She's bringing with her a lot of years of investigations under her belt, a lot of her own equipment.
Yes.
That's going to be helpful in the upcoming investigations. Now, our idea is to not just be a podcast. I mean, there's 1,000 podcasts.
Yeah, we still trying to we're trying to give people answers.
Resolutions to some,
yeah,
because if they're having issues, we want to offer
like
some type of resolutions.
Yeah, I was going through all this. I was being tormented,
Mm-hmm.
and you had all these ghost hunters coming in. The GI ghost hunters.
Yeah, and what was they there for? They was there for the spook factor for themselves.
Yeah.
They didn't offer
I
any
still thought
resolution.
they were cool. They come in there looking like
It was
Navy
cool.
SEALs.
They could have
or some
dressed like the
shit.
Ghostbusters, and it would have been cool.
Yeah,
That would have been entertainment for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
But did it offer any resolution
No,
after
it
the fact?
didn't.
None, zero.
I, to this day, I don't have a clue.
They just had to
So-
up and move the whole house.
Yeah, they figured we're just gonna take the house and we're gonna move it to Manor, Millwood,
I don't know
wherever.
what
it
that
went.
settled. That solved it.
I guarantee it didn't solve it.
Whatever.
So, but regardless, we
Mm-hmm.
are going to talk about what we're going to discuss next week, and I think we're going to move into the area of cryptozoology. Now, me and David hasn't done any investigations in cryptozoology, and if you're wondering what cryptozoology is, it's the study of mystical creatures. Some people say they've seen them, but there's really no evidence that they exist. Like Bigfoot,
Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra. I can't
it
say
again.
that right.
Say it
So you got
again.
to roll the R. The Chupacabra. There we go. And the swamp ape or skunk ape or
Yeah,
whatever
skunk
it is.
ape. But you know they said there's one of them down in on the other side of Offman and Hortense. What's it called?
Zirkle.
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 They're claiming there's one over
Yeah.
there.
Well,
But I'll tell you another story.
we will
ape
cover
sugar.
that next week. What you were about to say.
No,
Probably.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
I was going to say that my ex-wife, she worked for Pierce County Dispatch. And
Yeah,
this was what?
that part we were going to
No,
discuss.
that ain't that. You talking about the little ones?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
No, next week we're going to discuss that.
Oh, okay. Well, next week we're going to discuss
So,
what I was about to say. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's all false.
Ooh, that's some rain.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to talk about cryptozoology. We would like people who have experienced cryptozoology, have experienced sightings or have knowledge of a Yeti.
Not a Yeti around here. They got to be cold for Yetis. Bigfoot, whatever. Stuff
Now-
like that.
now there's
Something
a
you might have
story-
experienced in the South here, that we can maybe do an investigation on. That would be ideal.
There's a story that my brother told, and it stuck with me. I mean, I was a little kid. He was dating his sister.
Whoa.
He was dating.
Wait a minute.
He was dating who he married, my sister-in-law,
Uh-huh.
and they tell a story about when they went down near Hamp Mazel on the swamp. Hamp Mazel, you go all the way to the pavement ends, turn left, and it's way down Swamp Road. So I may try to see if he's feeling up to it, see if we can get him on and let him tell what he experienced, because somebody was telling me the other day they experienced something similar to that. And these two people don't know each other.
That's good. That's good. That's a good sign.
These two people don't know each other, so it's going to be a good story.
We got 45 minutes on the clock.
Cryptozoology.
We got another 15 minutes.
Cryptozoology is a pseudoscience.
What does that mean?
Pseudoscience is science with no non-based evidence. So it's just you're trying to
So
make
it's paranormal.
it's paranormal. Paranormal falls under pseudoscience. But we hope you like the story about Old Bill. Now, you want to tune in and you want to get a kind of a spook factor to things. Most of our stories. Most of our stories. That was thunder. Most of our stories is, after we've gone in and we've resolved stuff and we've done the investigation, it's kind of hard to explain it in a way that's going to be spooky because it didn't spook us.
Right.
None
of my readings have ever spooked me.
No, we're not scared. We're not going to be scared of when we go in.
Right.
If you are timid, you are dealing with some type of mental health like depression or something else, you may not be wanting to go out and try to hunt down things that go bump in the night.
No, some of them go to your house and mess with you while you're trying to sleep.
So, and a little bit of evidence or a little bit of scientific proof of what it does to you. When you go into a place, what happens the next day?
It's not even the next day right now because I had done it so long. It's the same day.
Same day.
I'm just completely drained. Like when we went out the other last week and done that interview, I didn't do a lot of it there. I did enough, but I could have slept for 2 days.
You watched some of these shows on TV where they've got a camera working. They're over here and they're videoing and they're saying, "Oh, it's drained off the batteries in our cameras. We can't film anything, but they've got a camera on them." Well, the same way that it drains those batteries, it drains the energy from us. So, anybody got any questions? We got about 13 minutes, and we would like
look
to.
At this clock.
Huh?
This clock.
Yeah, I'm
oh
going
yeah,
back
you are.
13 minutes.
You're right.
We got about 13 minutes, and we basically covered what we're going to talk about next week, and we're going to dive into that.
What we really go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're going to dive into that with the cryptozoology, and we're going to give people a chance to tell their stories because it's more than just what you see on TV. And there's there's hunters that have seen things because they go out about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. They've seen things. You got people out doing nature walks and stuff. They're seeing things, and people have experienced this, and their stories need to be shared. So we can. Do y'all think UFOs are involved with Bigfoot?
Yeah. I think I have thought that before. I've thought that would be a possibility before. I think that they might be.
Do you think UFOs are involved with Bigfoot? Do you think UFOs are involved with the pyramids?
I don't know, but I think that the species, or the species that whatever Bigfoot is, I think that it's not from this earth. I think it's from another realm. Or
what if Bigfoot is a descendant of Cain?
Maybe that's another theory.
I just come up with that.
I mean, it's a theory. That's
guys are talking.
All the things we're talking about here are
Bigfoots,
theories,
UFOs.
like UFOs involved with Bigfoot. I mean,
Okay, you know what? And we do have some stuff that we're going to cover later, probably early November, that deals with UFOs.
Yeah, we do have some.
So I have some stuff about UFOs, my own personal sighting. It was my neighbor come running over and got me and asked me were there a meteor shower, but we will discuss that.
I'm gonna probably bring my dad in on that because he has a really interesting story that happened to him personally.
And it's kind of like, when I was telling you the
Yeah.
story, you was like, man, my dad tells the same story.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked to your dad about it. So,
So we'll probably bring him in and let him and you and him go back and forth with that. I haven't never seen it. I've never seen Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, none of that.
well, I did experience something when I was a kid. So, and we'll cover that next week.
I did see a really interesting story about a Bigfoot. It's a really cool story about these two kids that were playing with they was like farmers' kids.
Yeah.
2 or 3 kids. And one of them said, hey, I have a friend that's an orangutan, and he comes and plays with me and stuff. And one of them said, no, you don't. And they kind of joked and made fun at the kid. Well, one of the kids went with him over to his house, and they said, yeah, my friend's right over here in the corn. Come look. And got over there, and the kid that went with this other kid, he's the one telling the story. And I'm not going to tell you all of it because I probably will tell this story at some point. But so they're sitting there by the corner playing, and they're looking at it, and all of a sudden,
So, and the cornfield and the orangutan with this kid, it evidently is something that he actually experienced, and
well, yeah, because the other kid said, all of a sudden there was a face popping through, like he was kind of peeking at him, and then he said it couldn't talk like we talk, but it could do things. It would mimic them and play with them and stuff, and they went inside the barn all at once. One time they went to a barn.
Let's save some for next week, David.
I can get it
Let's
going.
save some
I
for
can get
next
it all
week.
going, baby.
He was ready to. So with that, and in closing, if you guys out there has got anybody that's had any experience, anything, so did y'all actually find any paperwork on if a lady actually fell into the well?
No, this was 1800s when this happened.
It was it had to be around 1858. So
I know it was 1800s. I can just say that.
The only thing that Miss Walker told me was that it was like history forgot the daughter and just talked. There was some documentation about the
seems like there was a fire on the property at some point too.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that. And we got into cryptozoology a little too early. I think the trailer burned down.
What trailer?
The one that we investigated. It burned down.
Oh, did it?
Yes. I'm not 100% sure. I can try to reach out to maybe Sherry Meese. I'm not sure if Sherry Meese knows anything about it. But
she's running. She's on there.
Sherry, are you on there?
Oh, we got 3 viewers. I don't know if she's on there right now. She was. Sherry. Oh, Sherry. No?
No. All right. So the trailer that we investigated burned down, but we had been told that the old farm place that was there burned down too.
Yeah, I know. What I'm talking about burnt down was not something modern. It was back in that time.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was a fire on the property, and they lost the property probably because the house probably burnt down. I'm just guessing because we could probably. I don't know. I don't know if you can find. I don't know how to find information like that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to do it.
That's why we brought Connie on.
Yeah, she didn't know how to do it.
Connie will get on whatever she has to do at the library, and she will figure this stuff out. And if there's any history there,
Connie's also going to get us. I don't want to put any spoilers out there, but Connie's going to get us a live podcast at
a historical place. Yes, sir.
Hopefully soon. We'll know more about that later.
And I'm also there's one on the other side of Cogdale too, where 2 spook lights are.
There's a swamp ape over there.
Okay.
I think that's what you're talking about.
No, that's That's Lee.
That's Shannon.
No, that's Lee. Shannon was his wife.
Oh, okay.
Hey Lee, how you doing?
Hey,
glad you could get in tonight. So anyway, so we're gonna go into we're gonna close by saying that Pierce County that we know, the Pierce County that we know of today, because this whole area used to be Appling County.
Oh, did it?
And yes, there was a act, the something act, and I'll have to look that up. But in about 1858, 56, 57, somewhere along there, the lands of Pierce County, Brantley County, Ware County, Charlton County, and I think Bacon County were all divided up. They were all part of Appling County, and they said Appling County was too big.
We didn't do the drawing.
So
we have forgotten that
about the drawing.
We're going to do the drawing.
And
right
so
now.
we're going to put Shannon's name in there.
The paperwork's in here. All the little things I bought in there.
We're going to put Shannon's name in here, or actually Lee. And
In about 4 minutes. Let's hurry. Those names stay in there from last week.
So hand me the pen. Hand me a pen. Right here's a pen. All right. So
That's a name.
we got Lee. Lee.
Oh shit out of here.
We got Lee.
We got Shannon already. We got
Tina.
You writing Tina? Did you already got Lee? So let's see.
Connie.
Juanita. Sherry. I got Sherry.
So what we do is every week during our podcast, we take the names. We don't remove none of the names out of this wine box. So we take the names, we'll put them in here, and we will mix them up.
And chicken. That's what we do every week. So we're gonna do our giveaway right now for the $20 Walmart card. Is it a Walmart card or just a gift card?
It's a gift card.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't give any props until they want to sponsor. Walmart, if you want to sponsor the podcast, you're welcome. So David, do you want to do the honors of pulling the name?
I got you. And we shouldn't let a medium do this. I just pulled like 3. 3 all gets it now. All right, this one.
Juanita Cox. She gets the $20 gift thingamabob. Next week, we're going to be giving away...
I'll take her thing now. Go ahead. Talk.
Next week, we're going to be giving away a Android
Oh, shit.
watch.
Let me get... Excuse my fucking language. Let me get this watch.
David, you can say shit, but not the F word, man.
I dropped it already. It's too late.
Okay. No skunk ape, but a creature.
All right.
Okay, Shannon. I meant Lee. So next week we're going to be giving this away. It's brand new. Still in the box. It is a smartwatch. Yeah, there you go. It's gold.
Android smartwatch. Brand new. Still got the plastic on it.
And that's what we're going to give away to one lucky winner next week. So, batten down the hatches, folks, and survive the storm. And we will see you next week.
Yeah.
This is Paranormal Plus. Once again, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Laser Action Warfare of Blackshear, Georgia. And to our production company, Past 6 Productions.